All these houses are empty. It's already a ghost town. Nobody lives here anymore. Where did all these people go? Canadians are leaving Canada by the thousands, leaving Canada empty and deserted. Only Firulace is left now. Where did your owners go? There you can see the plane carrying immigrants who are escaping from Canada. Goodbye, and it stays empty. How true is the exodus from Canada? Where are all the Canadians going and why are they leaving? Guys, I have a classic from Diego Sal Reina Español, the topic that started this channel. Canada, my life in Canada, immigration to Canada, the Canadian economy. Do you want to come? Can you come? How about going back to the beginning? But this time it's different because Canada has changed a lot since I started making videos. Let's start with the topic that's been trending a lot on social media, that there's an exodus out of Canada and that both Canadians and immigrants are leaving in search of better opportunities. Because Canada no longer offers the promised Canadian dream. For those born here, it's no longer the country they remember. And for immigrants, it's not what they came for. It's simply not the country they were promised. It's not the country they spent so much to legalize themselves for. Well, let's do what we do on this channel. Let's look at the numbers and statistics. Something historic is happening in Canada and everyone is talking about it. It's trending on social media, but are they giving you the facts? In 2024 and 2025, more Canadians are leaving the country than at any other time since the 1960s. This isn't a minor trend, it's a warning sign. Ontario is losing almost half of those who are leaving, followed by British Columbia and Alberta. People who worked hard, studied, paid taxes, now feel that the country no longer gives them what they were promised. And it's not just those born in Canada who are leaving. More and more skilled immigrants, professionals, and international graduates are also packing up and leaving. After years of struggling and spending against the immigration system, they leave when the people who bet on Canada decide to go. The question isn't who is leaving or where they're going, but rather what is going wrong. Don't worry, I won't go on for too long. This won't last long. I'm wearing shorts and I can't stay out here for too long because I'll freeze. Those things I told you about the other day are going to freeze, so I won't take long. This is just my initial opinion to start the video off with some controversy. Canadians are going because it's easy for them. They don't have to pay a smuggler. They don't have to learn a second language. They don't have to go study somewhere else. They don't have to validate their education. They don't have to learn a new culture. For them, with English as their first language and a Canadian passport, it's very easy to go somewhere else. If they had to go through the same obstacles that we, Hispanics, have to go through, I guarantee you, 99% of the Canadians who already left wouldn't have left. They would have stayed with what they have here. Because despite all the disadvantages Canada has had in recent years, it's still a very good country. So let's start with the main reasons why Canadians, both immigrants and native-born, are leaving. We start with the high cost of living, the high costs, housing, inflation, and the cost of food. Better job opportunities, better weather. And the last one, which for me is the most important. And it's the goal that we should all aspire to, which is to return to your country of origin. Now let's take a deeper look at these reasons. Number one, the cost of living is no longer enough for them. They're used to wasting money. They don't know how to save. You go to the supermarket and buy things not frozen, but raw. They don't know about that. So the cost of living is no longer enough for them. Housing, rent, and basic expenses have become unsustainable for many people, even with good incomes. Because the cost is high, a combination of both the high costs and simply because they don't know how to live humbly. They have many generations of living very privileged lives. Number two, better opportunities outside of Canada. A professional with a university degree can earn more elsewhere, with fewer taxes or more professional growth, especially for skilled workers, that is, in countries with larger populations. If you own a business, cities with 10 or 15 million people give you much more reach. This inevitably led to a decline in quality of life, more financial stress, less access to services, and the feeling of working more to live worse. We're very familiar with this. And fourth, frustration with the system's policies. Many people disagree with the left-wing government, both ideologically and with the slow processes. Also with the lack of real solutions for housing and the difficulties for professionals to practice their careers. If you're a dentist or doctor coming from another country, you understand this very well. That's where we come in, because those are the same reasons why we leave. And the last one, which doesn't matter as much, is the lifestyle. There are Canadians who just want a change of scenery. They don't want to be here. They grew up in this frozen, snow-filled place, and they want something new. Not necessarily a better life, just something different. Even if they earn less, even if the currency they earn is worth less, they don't care. They just want a change of environment. Danger, thin ice. Do you see global warming? It's no joke. But there are those kids skating on the frozen lake in the summer. This lake looks more or less like this. Yeah. That's why Canada has such good hockey players. Look, see the kid here in the storm and the snow. He's going to join his team. Is it raining, snowing, or thundering? The best hockey players in the world are raised here in the city of Edmonton, and immigrants have always left. This is nothing new, but how much has this exodus increased? How many more people than usual are leaving here? Do you want the number? In 2024, 106,000 people left Canada, citizens and permanent residents, 106,000. That's approximately 0.2% of Canada. If you read in the news that 100,000 people left Canada, you say, wow, but if you look at the proportion of the total population, it's very low. Now, what's the average number of people who leave Canada? Since the 1980s, it's 98,000 a year, almost 100,000. So it hasn't increased much. What's the difference between 98 and 106? It's not that it's suddenly exploding now just because of social media. People who leave Canada make their video, their TikTok, explaining why before they go, which is good, freedom of expression, and those videos go viral. And does it give you the impression that a lot more people are leaving now? These are citizens and permanent residents, students and people with work permits are also leaving. And these are the saddest cases because most of them left because they couldn't stay anymore. That's right. This exodus of immigrants in Canada, in most cases, is not voluntary. If you count the total number of people who leave the country, more than half do so because the immigration system closed its doors to them. They couldn't stay anymore. They didn't leave because they wanted to, or because they didn't like Canada, or didn't think it was a good option, but because they were forced out. It's not the same to be kicked out as it is to decide not to stay. Yes, there are people who are leaving, yes, voluntarily, but the door is also closing for many who leave me these comments and say, oh, you just discourage people and I want to leave. It's not to discourage you, I'm just asking, are you coming to take on a challenge? We all love challenges. Who likes things to be easy? No one. The reality isn't to discourage you, it's so you know exactly what you're coming for. But it's not all bad news. Little by little, we're seeing an increase in the number of permits being approved, in the number of students who are passing, and in the number of job offers being posted. Yes, it has decreased, but not everything is lost. It's not all terrible news. As Canada's economy recovers, the number of immigrants they accept and the opportunities for those who want to come will continue to increase. We have to stay alert and never give up. Look, we break it up into even smaller pieces, bite-sized, to process them better. In the first quarter, the first third of 2025, 27,080 people left Canada. Let's set it at 27,000. The average for the quarter is over 25,000. If you look at the increase, yes, it did go up. It went up a lot. It exploded out of proportion. Honestly, no. This exodus isn't for just one reason. I can't tell you there's just one thing causing it. Why are the immigrants leaving? Because of this? No. It's a combination of many factors. Some that have been here in Canada for decades and some that are new, and it's a combination of all of them. But there are people who are leaving, And that means it's a better opportunity for those who want to come. Canada isn't becoming empty, it's simply opening up other kinds of opportunities for those who want to come. I still choose to come to Canada because I consider it my best option given my circumstances, and at the same time, it's the best option for many more people. When they tell you never to touch yellow snow, that's what they mean. Yellow snow. Another reason they leave is for family reunification or to return to their roots. Look, we're told that about 18% of immigrants in Canada leave Canada within 25 years. What does that mean? Does it mean Canada is terrible? It means they go back to where they started, they return to their roots, to the country where they were born. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Chiapas. I'm not going to retire here. I'm not going to be 80 years old living here. When I'm a senior, I won't be here. I have nothing to do here. Right now, these are my most productive years, my working years, of course. I'm happy to be here. I work, I contribute, I pay taxes, I raise my children here. I'm very happy to take them to a Canadian school and see them have all the things I never had. And aren't they seeing the violence, marginalization, and problems I grew up with? But eventually, when I'm old and they're adults, what could I do here? And I'm not the only immigrant who thinks that way, am I? Many immigrants come to the Canadian dream with the goal of saving up their capital and returning home. And not only that, the children who were born here do it too. And here we're going to look at a key number. Which country are the Canadians who leave Canada going to? Those who were born here in Canada, not the immigrants, the Canadians. Let's take a look. The top three are the United States, Mexico, and the United Kingdom. The number one country with 48% of the immigrants is the United States. Most of them go here to the other side, just like we in Mexico say, to the other side. Here it's the same, just to the south, and they go. Because the United States is very similar. It's a lot like Canada in terms of economy, infrastructure, the way everything works, the same language, and a very similar culture. After the United States, next is Mexico. 8% of immigrants go to Mexico. Why? The climate. Like I said, if the economy is so bad, who goes to Mexico? You don't go to Mexico to make money, at least not most people. You go to Mexico to enjoy the beaches, the weather, the food. That's where the superior power of the Canadian dollar comes in. These are people who have pensions and no longer have to be part of the Canadian workforce. For them, Mexico means a higher quality of life. And this is evidence that Canada is still a better country. For $1 Canadian, you get between 14 and 15 Mexican pesos. And lastly, the United Kingdom. All the people I know, Canadians who go to the United Kingdom, it's because their parents or grandparents came from there. In other words, they're returning to their country of origin, even if they've never been there. Even if they were born here, only their parents or grandparents were from there. And that's why I have this idea that my children will want to retire in Mexico. They're returning to the country of origin of their ancestors, their father, their grandfather, just like Canadians who go to the United Kingdom. The same concept, the same mentality, just a different country of origin, but in the end it's the same. I want to go back to the place where my father came from. Even so, this doesn't mean that Canada's population is decreasing. The population keeps increasing, but it's increasing because of immigration, not because of natives born here. We already know that births here in Canada are far below what's needed to sustain and grow a population. We've known that for decades. The population in Canada has mostly increased because of migration. So, are immigrants and natives both leaving? Yes, but there are still many more immigrants coming in. So the population isn't decreasing, it's just not increasing as much. Now, what are the projections for the future? Yes, if this rate of immigrants leaving and the rate of native Canadians leaving continues and increases, if it goes up every year, then yes, Canada will have a stagnant population and it might stay that way. A situation where it neither decreases nor increases, or increases very, very little, but the population actually goes down. In my opinion, no. Well, we've already seen the numbers, we've already seen the data, we've already seen the statistics, you've already heard jokes, I've already made you laugh, cry, and get angry. Now let's hear my opinion. I firmly believe that Hispanics, specifically, are the solution for Canada. We can build the houses they need in record time. We can harvest their crops effectively and efficiently without raising the price for them. We can adapt to any challenges the country presents. We can have children who will grow up to be philosophers, thinkers, scientists, soldiers, teachers, rulers, bankers, all perfect immigrants. We are the solution for the future of Canada, and there are many out there who hate themselves so much. They are so destined for failure and defeat that they mock me when I tell them this. Then I show them these examples. I want to keep this video free from the contamination of haters, hateful pessimists who don't believe in themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, don't ruin it for everyone else who does believe in themselves. Later, I'll show them those videos, but for now, let's just focus on this. Canada needs a lot of help. It needs a specific group of immigrants. People who are used to suffering, to fighting, to putting on a brave face in the face of difficulties, to working hard when it comes to work. Who are willing to go through anything because they've already been through everything. And without that group of people, Canada won't rise. And that group is us. The solution to their problems, right there at their doorstep. If you take the United States out of the equation, we're neighbors. They don't have to go to another continent. They don't have to go that far. We Hispanics are that piece that Canada's crisis needs. They just need to change their immigration system, which is ridiculous and strict, and accept us, open their doors to us. In a controlled way, of course, in a controlled way, with order. I'm never saying open the borders. I never said give things away, let anyone in. No, there should be order, a selection process, but people should be able to enter. That you reasonably accept someone who just wants to come to work and benefit the country. And they themselves will realize how in a few years, things will start to improve, things will go up. If Canada had a good portion of its population, a good portion of its workforce, its labor force. As Hispanics, they themselves would see how they recover their status as a world power and would reach a level they couldn't reach on their own. That union between Canadians and Hispanics, the infrastructure they have, the territory and natural resources, combined with our workforce. Fighting spirit and perseverance are the perfect combination for the most prosperous country on the American continent. But there it is, they don't let us in, they make excuses, they're shooting themselves in the foot. It's like someone needs help with their sack of potatoes. You offer with a wheelbarrow, saying you'll help, but they refuse because you don't speak English or French. Someone who's there picking up leaves from their yard with their hands, and you walk by with a broom, ma'am, I'll sweep your yard. No, because you don't have a doctorate or a master's degree. That's how Canadians are. I hope they reconsider. Let's hope they reconsider. Do you want to work to be one of those immigrants? Call any registered immigration advisor you want. Would you like to do your process with us? CV Canada Immigration.